Hello, everyone. My name is Dexter. Thank you for watching Learn with Dexter, and make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and recommend to your family and friends. Today, I'll be reading An Anthology of Aquatic Life by Sam Hume, Part 1. Now, let's begin. Deep ocean. With 8 billion people walking the earth and airplanes that can take you all around the world, it's easy to think we've seen every inch of our planet. In reality, however, most of it remains unexplored. This is because 95% of the living space on our planet is in the ocean, and most of that is in the dark depths. More people have walked on the moon than have dived to the very bottom of the sea. For bathonauts, people who explore the deep sea, almost every trip into the abyss reveals strange new creatures never seen before. We used to imagine the deep sea as an empty place, so black, cold, and hostile that nothing could possibly live there. With recent discoveries on the seafloor, including mind-bogglingly big icefish nurseries, ancient sponge gardens, and herds of wandering sea pigs, we are now learning to expect the unexpected. If Mount Everest moved to the deepest point of the ocean, its peak would still be more than 6,500 feet, 2,000 meters, below the water's surface. Sea cucumber. They may sound and even look like vegetables, but sea cucumbers are in fact animals. They belong together with starfish and sea urchins in the echidnaderm or spiny skin family. The sea cucumber is shaped like a sausage and creeps along the sea floor with tentacle-like feet known as tube feet, looking for plant scraps and tiny animals to eat. Once it finds its food, the sea cucumber uses 5 branching tentacles around its mouth to pull in its dinner. The sea cucumber is a bottom breather. This means it takes oxygen from water that it sucks in and out its bottom. And that's not its only trick. If the sea cucumber gets attacked, it can shoot up some of its guts into the water to distract and feed the attacker, while the canny sea cucumber makes an escape. Sea cucumbers come in many colors and are found on the ocean floors across the world. This yellow and green sea cucumber is a beaded sea cucumber. This blue one is called a sea pig. This yellow sea cucumber is called a yellow sea cucumber. And this red one is called a red-lined sea cucumber. Comb jelly. Despite its name, the comb jelly isn't actually a jellyfish at all. It belongs to its own, equally ancient jelly-like group. It gets its name from the small hairs that run all the way down the outside of its body and look like the teeth of a comb. These hairs pulsate one after another like a rippling wave to motor the jelly slowly through the water. When hunting prey, comb jellies have a few useful tricks on hand. Many have long tentacles which hang out like a fishing line. Unlike a jellyfish's tentacles, these do not sting but fire out sticky glue. Other combs open up an enormous mouth, a little like a big garbage bag, and swallow their prey whole. Some comb jellies even have comb teeth inside their stomachs. These act like mini chainsaws to break up their prey. A trick of light caused by their wriggling hairs can make comb jellies sparkle like rainbows. The comb jelly's pulsating hairs are called cilia. Comb jellies can survive in all oceans. This comb jelly is swimming in Arctic waters. Carnivorous sponge. A natural sponge that you might use to take a bath is actually the skeleton of an animal called a sponge. When it was alive, the sponge would have pumped water through the little holes in its body, eating up tiny bits of food in the water. Carnivorous sponges, on the other hand, tend to live in places where food is hard to find, such as the deep sea or inside caves. Here they need to think bigger and hunt prey such as crustaceans. Many don't pump water, but go for a more direct approach. Some carnivorous sponges have tiny sharp hooks made of glass at the end of long thread-like filaments that snare prey exactly like a fishing line. Others are shaped like a sticky fishing net, trapping anything that wanders into them. It is then that the sponge performs its magic trick. It is able to rearrange its body to slowly cover and digest trapped prey. Sponges might seem harmless when you're washing yourself in the bathtub, but some living sponges are killers. This cave-dwelling sponge has barbed hooks made of glass to trap crustaceans. This deep-sea harp sponge catches passing prey in its long spiny arms. Dumbo octopus. The Dumbo octopus has flappy ear-like fins that help it fly through the water. This little creature is about the size of a guinea pig and is the deepest living octopus. Flapping around by your ears might not be the fastest way to get around, but that doesn't matter for this octopus, since there aren't many predators to worry about this deep down in the ocean. In fact, the life of this Dumbo octopus is so carefree, it has lost the power to squirt ink like other octopuses. There is a downside to living in a part of the ocean without many predators, however, and that is that there just isn't much food to go around. So when this little octopus does come across a tasty shrimp, it makes sure to gobble it down whole so that nothing goes to waste. Because of its big ears, the Dumbo octopus is named after the flying elephant from the classic Disney cartoon. The Dumbo octopus uses its 8 arms to steer itself through the water. Scale worm. Despite its rather unremarkable name, the scale worm is a truly extraordinary animal. It would be better suited to a name like Disco Glitter Snapper or Rainbow Ravager. Often found deep down in the ocean near hot spouting hydrothermal vents, these marine worms are nothing like the common earthworm. First, they are stunningly beautiful. Their thick armored scales sparkle in the seawater and twinkle in every color. Second, they don't slither along their bellies like earthworms. Instead, they trundle along leg-like bristles, rather like aquatic armadillos. Third, they are very, very feisty. Scientists have seen them fighting each other in a kind of strange dance when they get too close. They do short charges back and forth at their opponent and can bite chunks out of those armored scales with their powerful jaws. Scale worms put their enormous jaws to good use when scavenging on dead whales. Some scale worms aren't just colorful, they can also glow in the dark. Scale worms joust with each other if they get too close. Zombie worm. The scientific name for zombie worm means bone eater. In 2002, a remarkable new discovery was made in Monterey Bay, California. Scientists sent cameras down to the bottom of the sea and found what looked like pink feather dusters poking out of a whale's skeleton. It turned out that they were zombie worms. The feathery bits of each worm were the gills breathing in the water, while the other end was drilling into the whale's bones. These worms don't have mouths or even stomachs. Instead, they feed by making a gooey acid so strong it melts bone. The worm's skin then sucks up the bone's nutrients straight through its blood. By comparing the type of holes that these worms make with similar holes found in ancient fossils, scientists think that zombie worms may have been around about 100 million years ago, during the time of the dinosaurs. Scaly-foot snail. The scaly-foot snail lives in one of the strangest environments on the planet. Its home is more than 6,600 feet underwater in the pitch-black ocean depths, where there is almost no food. The snail lives next to hydrothermal vents. These are cracks in the sea floor that spout toxic chemicals and superheated water of over 400 degrees Celsius. Most of the other life forms here are predators, such as crabs and deadly snails that inject venom into their prey. Luckily for the scalyfoot, it has some secret weapons to survive. It has a special relationship with the bacteria that live in its guts, and it uses the energy made by this bacteria to produce food. This means that the snail does not have to hunt for food itself. Another kind of bacteria lives in the snail shell. This extracts iron from the water and gives the snail a coat of metal armor. Its shell is iron, and even its foot has a metal-plated coat. With its shell of iron and scales like chainmail, the scalyfoot snail is so metallic it's magnetic. This snail has 2 tentacles to feel its way around. It has no need for eyes. Giant isopod. The deep sea is home to some alien-looking creatures, which perhaps comes as no surprise. After all, in many ways, they do live on a different planet, one without sunlight or seasons. Also, these animals have to live under huge pressure from the weight of all the water above. Strangely, living in deep freezing water has caused some marine animals to grow much bigger than any of their relatives. Take a look at the giant isopod, for instance. It is closely related to the woodlouse, a common bug found in any garden or park. But while there certainly is a resemblance, the giant isopod is many thousands of times larger, about the size of a house cat. To keep such a bulk, this creature has a bigger appetite too, and will scavenge and feast on anything it can find on the sea floor. Giant isopods are usually harmless scavengers, but they can also be predators and have even been known to attack sharks. The giant isopod can curl up into a ball to protect its fleshy underside. The bathyal zone, also called the midnight zone, the bathyal zone, is a deep part of the ocean that gets no sunlight at all. Because of this, no plants or algae can grow here. Instead, any living thing that can survive in this zone must rely on scavenging food that falls from above, or else eat each other. Bristlemouth fish. There are trillions of bristlemouths living in the ocean depths, the biggest number of any fish anywhere. Snipe eel. The long, thin jaws of the snipe eel curl outwards, which means it can never shut its mouth. The eel catches small shrimp and drifting plankton. Deep-sea dragonfish. The major predator of the deep has teeth sharper and stronger than a piranha, and whiskery strands that are bioluminescent. Black swallower. This extraordinary fish has a big appetite. Thanks to its enormous stomach, it can eat prey twice its length and 10 times its weight. Siphonophores. This group of jellyfish-like creatures swims or drifts in the ocean, and lives in colonies. Each individual siphonophore performs a particular task. Comb jelly. Floating through the water like Technicolor hot air balloons, comb jellies waft thousands of little hairs to move around. They are often bioluminescent. Panda-lid shrimp. This shrimp has a clever trick. It vomits glowing goo to dazzle predators so it can make an escape. Fangtooth. The fangtooth has monstrously large teeth for its size, perfect for keeping hold of prey in the dark. Giant squid. Giant squid are legends of the deep sea. They grow up to 59 feet long, twice as long as a school bus. Larger than basketballs, their eyes are the biggest on Earth and help the squid see in the murky depths of the oceans. In addition to 8 arms, giant squid have 2 long tentacles, twice as long as a grown-up person, for grabbing deep-sea fish and other squid. When catching prey, the giant squid pulls its victim into its beak, which looks like a parrot's, only much larger. Although we rarely see giant squid at the surface, they are in every ocean of the world, and there may be as many as 130 million of them. Giant squid have few predators. The sperm whale is one of the few animals big enough to eat them. Giant squid fight back when attacked. Many sperm whales have circular scars from being struck by giant squid suckers. A giant squid suckers are lined with sharp teeth for grasping their prey. Vampire squid. The vampire squid hides in a dark and quiet part of the deep ocean called the oxygen minimum zone, where very few animals can breathe. It has 8 arms like other squid, but is missing the 2 long tentacles for grabbing prey. Instead, it has 2 long string-like tendrils called filaments, covered in sticky hair. These stretch out and catch marine snow, tiny bits of dead stuff that sink down from the ocean above. If a predator does come by, the vampire squid has some nifty tricks up its 8 sleeves. It has bright patches on its arms that can dazzle the would-be attacker in the pitch black. If that doesn't work, its arms can squirt luminous sticky goo, lighting up the attacker like a Christmas tree. The result? The hunter becomes the hunted. Bigger predators soon spot and catch the glowing animal, leaving the vampire squid to make a quiet escape. The squid's scientific name means the vampire squid from hell, but it's not really frightening at all. In fact, it's quite a scaredy cat. Goblin shark. With its bubblegum pink skin, fang-like teeth, and movable jaw, the goblin shark is named after a goblin in Japanese folklore. Goblin sharks are as mysterious as their name suggests. In fact, they've rarely been seen alive. This creature of the dark may come near the surface at night to feed, but it spends its days as deep down as 4,300 feet, where it dines on squid and fish. A large pointed nose is useful for hunting, especially because it's filled with little electric sensing pits that detect prey in the gloom. The goblin shark has such a toothy grin that it can't close its mouth completely, and with such a long nose in the way, you might wonder how it can eat at all. However, this clever shark can unhinge its jaws and shoot out its teeth-filled mouth to catch prey by surprise. Feather star. They may look like a cross between a plant and a feather duster, but feather stars are in fact animals belonging to a group called crinoids. They can often be found sitting on rocks while their many long feathery arms stick out into the ocean current, catching tiny bits of plankton that drift past. These fabulous arms are known as rays, and each is lined with thousands of tiny sticky feet, called tube feet, which help it to move food down towards its mouth. Generally, fellow stars prefer to stick tight to the sea floor, but if a crinoid decides to move, it can swim through the water. It's not the most graceful movement. By moving its rays one at a time, it looks a little like a doggy paddle. Crinoids are an ancient group of animals. They were living in the oceans at least 200 million years before dinosaurs existed. Leatherback turtle. This deep water specialist has an enormous chunky body that helps to keep it warm, even when hunting in cold waters. It can dive to depths of around 4,000 feet, making it easily the deepest diving reptile. Despite its size, the leatherback eats mainly jellyfish, so it needs to eat a lot of them. As a baby, the turtle weighs as much as a golf ball, but takes just 7 years to transform into a fully grown adult, weighing in at 1,500 pounds. The leatherback does not possess the crushing jaws of other turtles, but has sharp scissor-like jaws for chopping up its jelly prey. Once a jelly is swallowed, it can't get out. The inside of the turtle's mouth is filled with backwards-facing spines that stop the jelly from escaping. The largest leatherback turtle ever recorded was more than 10 feet long and weighed twice as much as a polar bear. Unlike other sea turtles, the leatherback does not have a bony shell, but a flexible leather-like skin, hence its name. Cookie cutter shark. Cookie cutter sharks are as sneaky as they are cute. They are very small for sharks and are only about as long and thick as your arm. However, they are among the most feared sharks in the open ocean. They have razor-sharp teeth and will track down bigger animals, such as whales, tunas, and even other sharks. With their round jaws, they can gouge out flesh. These cunning sharks are also bioluminescent. This means they can glow in the dark, except, that is, from a dark collar around their necks. From below, this collar can look like a small patch of darkness against the surface above. Big animals approach, thinking they've found a little fish to eat, and instead get nipped by the vicious cookie cutter. Perfect circular scars, as if made by a cookie-cutting tool, have been found on many large marine animals. Like other sharks, cookie cutters regularly replace their teeth to keep them new and sharp. Fan-fin anglerfish. Also known as the fan-fin sea devil, this deep-sea fish must be one of the strangest and scariest-looking animals on Earth. Like other anglerfish, the fan-fin has a bright glowing lure hanging over its head that it wriggles around like a piece of bait in the darkness. The rest of its body is black, so as hungry fish approach the lure, they can't spot the rest of the fish until it's too late. In a flash, the anglerfish's big teeth appear out of the gloom and gobble up the unfortunate visitor. This anglerfish's incredible fins are like long, thin whiskers that stretch out into the darkness. Not only do the whiskers help detect anything swimming past, but they are also dotted with little glowing lights. These lights help the male anglerfish find a female mate, which can be difficult in the deep. Once he does, he doesn't let go, biting on and sticking to the female forever. The male anglerfish is tiny compared to the female. and it looks very different too. Only the female anglerfish has such long and fine fins with a luminous lure on its head. Barrel eye, deep in the murky depths, is one of the strangest fish of all, the barrel eye. It's a good name, as this fish does indeed have bulging round eyes that look like barrels. The eyes are green and buried in the middle of a clear jelly-like head. The barrel-eye fish finds its see-through head very useful. It spends most of its time about 2,600 feet below the ocean surface, hanging perfectly still in the water with its eyes looking straight up through its head. That deep, there's hardly any light, but the barrel eye can pick out faint shadows and shapes moving above it. It looks for the long bodies of jellyfish-like animals called siphonophores. Once it has spotted prey, the barrel eye goes into feeding mode, rolling its eyes to face forward as it swims. In addition to nibbling the siphonophores, the barrel eye steals food from their tentacles with its tiny mouth. With its eyes safely tucked away while it eats, there is no danger of them being stung. Like wearing special jelly-seeking goggles, the green eyes of the barrel eye might help to pick out the colors of sea jellies. The barrel eye can rotate its eyes towards the front as well as upwards. The barrel eye has big green eyes. The two dents below, which look like eyes, are actually for smelling. The end. Which of these creatures did you find the most